One of the big things, United States, for the first time, 3 Americans in the field. Chloe Chambers, as we mentioned, we have Leo Block, and the wild card driver, Courtney Crone, in the field. Crone is from California, has been racing cars, sprint cars, LMP3, and speedway motorcycles. She's been racing since she was 3 years old, so she's been around motorsports for a long time. She is with Prima this race weekend and brings QVC sponsorship. QVC, first time motorsports since Jeff Bodine had a QVC sponsorship in the mid 90s in the NASCAR Cup Series. Emily, we have 3 Americans in the field. We're racing in the United States, and this race is going to be on ESPN. How big is this opportunity to build a fan base in the United States, in America, that saw the W Series come and then unfortunately went away?
I think you used the perfect word. It's an incredible opportunity to build a fan base. When we are watching women's sports, especially here in America, something that I always like to point out is those viewers most of the time have to go seek and find their media. They have to go Google, find where they can be watching the competition. So the fact that it's going to be airing on ESPN ahead of the Miami Grand Prix is just incredible coverage for fans to tune in. And then even further, the map of where women's sports is going in America. Fans are saying that they want to be getting into this. I mean, perfect example, look at the Caitlin Clark coverage that happened following her contract signing for the WNBA. The time is now, and it's no better time to get fans excited about what women are doing in this sport. And I think the Miami Grand Prix is the perfect stage to be welcoming new fans in.
Yeah, I would definitely echo everything you just said, Emily, about how all eyes are on women's sports right now. And there's definitely a lot of excitement and buzz coming off of March Madness and just women's sports in general. And I think having 3 Americans in the field especially is great for a race like Miami, where I think in motorsport, it can be sometimes difficult to choose who you want to root for. When you think about more traditional sports, I feel like all of my favorite teams, all of my favorite players are just Philly teams, Philly sports teams, because that's where I'm from, and it's easy to connect with them that way. So I would say that having 3 Americans in the field will make it even easier for fans potentially just getting into watching motorsport to feel like they have a driver to root for. So I think it's a great thing.
Well, everyone knows I'm a big Philly sports fan as well. So you want to bring up the WNBA. I think that's the next city that needs an expansion team. I know the Bay Area is getting theirs next year, but I think the time's never been better because, like you mentioned, Emily, there's so much momentum. And it's not just Caitlin Clark. The entire draft class, next year's draft class, which looks to be led by Paige Beckers. It's a great time to start getting invested in women's sports in this country, I believe. And hopefully here with F1 Academy, even though motorsports is a little bit different, we don't segregate by gender at the top levels here, but I think, as we talked about on this show before earlier this season, this is still a great opportunity for young women to get into the F1 Formula Racing ladder here. And I think, being on the ESPN platform and Family Networks again is a great place for this series to be in, considering where they were last year, not being televised to now being on a network like that. I think is absolutely huge for their reach there as well. So, like you said, to have 3 Americans in the field, I think it's just a cherry on top, because I think this series has a lot going for it in a country that has a lot going for it for women's sports right now. But then you factor in that, we have 3 Americans racing this weekend. I think you only need to look at the reaction from a lot of American fans based on what happened with Logan Sargent in Australia. I think that, people sometimes question how much of a difference does that really make. I think it makes a massive difference. So hopefully that difference comes through here for F1 Academy and gives it even more of a boost than it might have gotten otherwise.